This video is sponsored by Epic Games.
Do you want to know what it's like to be on the moon? Keep watching.
Welcome to VFX Explained, the show where we take a look at VFX from blockbuster films, music videos, or viral videos and try to recreate them. In today's video, I'm going to recreate the moon landing.
A trip not only through space, but through time, toward a world untouched by the evolutionary processes of Earth.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
So in 1969, the Apollo 11 hit the surface of the moon. Well, at least that's what we're told. There is a lot of speculation that the moon landing has been faked, but is it though? I'm going to try to recreate the moon landing scene with visual effects. Let's see where we get. I gotta say, today's video is going to be pretty exciting because I'm going to be working with Unreal Engine. And I'm pretty excited about it because I haven't worked with it, but I wanted to work with it for so long now. Okay, so now let's open up Unreal Engine 5. The most amazing part of this is it has an amazing and big community to learn from. So if you ever get stuck, you always find a solution when using the software. And it's also free to download, so why wouldn't you give it a go? Because this software gives you so much opportunities for creating visual effects. So the first thing that I have done is create a landscape. So you have all these tablets and you can just literally go into the landscape mode and start creating a landscape. You can sculpt it and detail it the way you want, just like you're working with clay. It's so user-friendly and so easy to use that it feels like you're playing a game while you're actually working on a complete environment that you're going to end up using for a game or a movie. After that, you can obviously texture your landscape, but what you can also do is actually load a displacement map. And in this case, I actually ended up importing a displacement map of the moon. So I actually searched for a height map of the moon, optimized it for Unreal Engine and imported that. And that gives me back something like this. So with this, you really see all those craters in the moon and that looks fantastic. So then for the texturing, you don't have to create your own textures because Unreal Engine actually gives you free access to their complete library called Quixel Bridge, and it's now integrated in Unreal Engine 5. When you open Quixel Bridge, you can quickly see that you have tons and tons of materials, surfaces, and foliage that are ready to use and that are completely integrated in the software. So I just search the material that I like and I just click download and I add it to the software. Then it brings that into the software and I just edit it a little bit of that texture to desaturate the colors to make it look more like a moon surface and apply that to my landscape. So now the landscape looks good, but it doesn't look very detailed and I only need a small space to actually look very detailed because the rest I'm gonna film from far away. So here Nanite comes in really handy. So first off, I just searched some simple rocks on the bridge library and I imported them into my project. And then with the foliage tool, I just imported these small rocks into the foliage and then you can see that I can just brush paint over my landscape and start detailing it with stuff that I just place over there. So whatever 3D model I place in there, I can scatter it around the entire landscape. After that you've done all the detailing stuff for the smaller object, you can start importing some bigger rocks. And again with Nanite, you have these real high polygon count, 3D scanned rocks that you can import from Quixel Bridge and they just look photoreal immediately. So I imported these rocks into the library and just placed them all over my scene and I just searched for some variation. You can also download some ground, so just to separate up the ground and make a little bit more variation in your scenery. And again, I just edited the textures to look a little bit more desaturated. Then like in any software, you place your lights, your HDRI map, and you should have something like this. So how easily was it to set up something like this? And you have like literally infinite possibilities for environments. So if you're ever doing green screen work, I don't know if I'm going to be using anything else but Unreal Engine because rendering this scene literally 2 seconds a second, I don't know, but it's really fast. So now I want to import a 3D model and animate that 3D model. So I have the Apollo 11 lander here. I imported that in Cinema 4D and I optimized my model a little bit and I also combined all the meshes just so I have one solid model with all the textures applied to it. And all I have to do is export this model to Unreal Engine 5, and here I can just link up the textures again, and I immediately have my final result of my lander. So it's really simple to import 3D models as well. And now you can start animating your scene. So to do that, you have to create a level sequence. So I don't want to create a game, I want to create a sequence. I want to create a cinematic. So with this level sequencer, you can bring in your camera, you can bring in your lander or your Apollo 11, and then start keyframing the position of everything. And yeah, just parenting the camera underneath the Apollo 11 to get a shot, for example, like this. Or yeah, just from far away and zooming in a little bit, because you have complete control over what camera you want to use, like in real life, which is really amazing. And in the end, by playing around with the software, every time I wanted to do something, just looking up that specific thing I needed to do, and little by little, I ended up creating an entire scene in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, Mom, I know. I should have called you. I arrived safely on the moon. Yeah, I ate my sandwiches.
I want to talk a little bit more about Unreal Engine. You might already know it as a game engine, but recently it's grabbing more and more attention towards the filmmaking industry. And that's because you're basically creating a hyper-realistic game, and then you can use that in your VFX pipelines. So for example, The Mandalorian, they're not using green screen anymore. They are using these 360 LED panels to replicate a scene. And the scene usually is being recreated using Unreal Engine when it comes to that. And the most important thing for me is that render times are essentially history, because you're rendering in real time, hence it's a game engine. You're creating a game of your movie. So this allows you much more creativity over your camera angles and stuff like that, because you don't have to worry about rendering hours and hours and hours to get your final result. Also, 2 new releases they have done. You might have already heard from them with all these new games being released. Unreal Engine announced Nanite and Lumen. And what exactly is Nanite? Well, Nanite is allowing you to import high polygon 3D models in Unreal Engine without a problem. So now polygons don't matter anymore, because they're calculated in a completely different way, optimizing the speed of the render engine, and you don't have to worry about optimizing your models. Because before you had to keep your polygons to a minimum, and if you wanted to create detail in your 3D model, you needed to actually put that in the normals or in the textures of your model and fake all the 3D detail that you would have on your object. You might have seen that in games when you're walking closer to a wall and you're looking at a specific angle, you can see that the wall is actually not displaced, it's not coming out, it just looks like it's 3D, but it isn't. And that is now history with Nanite. And the other introduction is Lumen. Lumen is, how I understand it, a completely physical and procedural lighting system that allows you to light your scene in real time, so you can move your light, you can actually see that the shadows are moving and that the light adapts to the scenery and your camera and stuff like that. Before you had to all cache that beforehand, and now it feels more realistic and it acts more realistic. And the cool thing is, before I started with this project, Unreal Engine actually announced Unreal Engine 5 beta. So it's currently still in a beta, but I wanted to test it out because they have so much exciting stuff coming for the filmmaking industry. Well, for us it's really important, as well for the game industry. But with this update, you can now make photoreal renders in Unreal Engine in real time. So that's insane. So I'm still very new to the software, super excited to get better, and I would love to see what you can create, so you can always tag me on Instagram at Ignace Aleya, and I'm super excited to see what you guys can come up with. And that's it for this video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a like. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. Apart from that, I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, create epic videos.